Okay, everybody, welcome to episode 18. I'm just going to start it because I want people to see what I have to deal with as far as production and what kind of owners I'm dealing with in this league. But episode 18, and it's going to be a special episode. We do have the potential number one seed. He's out there. I can't hear him. I can see him if he pops on. He's on his phone. It's awful. But let me start with what I've started with the last few episodes, and it's helped me after 7 straight wins.
Hello?
If my mind can conceive it, if my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it. The great one, Muhammad Ali. I'll say that until I am taken down, which I don't know if I will be. If I have 7 straight wins right now. I was 2-4. Now I'm 9-4. There's Ryan. He can't hear him. This is what I deal with these owners. But week 13 is behind us. Week 14, our final week of the regular season, is upon us. We've already had a game. Ryan, I'm going to talk, and I don't know what you do. If you want to listen in or if you want to figure out your
Can't hear
audio,
anything.
that's fine. I can't hear a word you're saying,
Can't
but
hear
this
anything.
is what I have to deal with. We've already. I'm just going to get right into my whole thing. And if Ryan can figure out his technology, then we'll hear Ryan. There he goes. He went off video. So week 13 is done. It was a great week. Week 14, there's Jessica. Week 14, our final week of the regular season has begun. Dallas versus Detroit. We did have
Hello?
I had a couple players. I had Dak and
Hello?
I had someone. I got to look it up. I had another player, and I play Andy this week for the 1 and 2 or 3 seed. But we're going to get into that. But I feel to start episode 18, I have to start and talk about this one owner, one of our owners. This week, or we had an event after Thanksgiving, what we call the Turkey Bowl, and it's about 75 young men who play football. We have a party. We had a pig roast. Shout out to my chefs who were on the last episode. They made a pig and 2 brisket, and it might have been the best brisket I've ever eaten in my life. So shout out to them. We'll have them back on, and maybe even have a pig or brisket for the championship weekend. We'll see. But I wanted to get into. I'm going to quote what I said in episode 17 about this owner, and I don't want to say it was prolific, but I hope he listens to the messaging and he pulls through. So this is what I had written and spoke of about this owner, and I'll tell you who it is. I fear that this young man will wake up a few weeks from now, 11:30 or 1 o'clock on a Sunday, and weep for the season that he has wasted again and again and again. Wasted talent lost forever at the bottom of an empty bottle of Jameson, which sits at the foot of his bed. Still in his wrinkled clothes from the day before, the saddest thing in life is wasted talent, and the choices that you make will shape your life forever. And as I had said, that's Mr. Robert De Niro from A Bronx Tale circa 1993. And of course, we know who we're talking about. We all know who we're talking about. And again this year, and I will tell you that this commissioner had a one-on-one. I talked about it in New York with Pat Jr. Now, we had a very deep conversation, but unfortunately, at Turkey Bowl, and I was right there, and this is where I say it may have been foreshadowing what I had said in episode 17, foreshadowing for this young man. He now sits waiting for surgery. Next year's season is a question mark, not only for fantasy football, but also for Turkey Bowl. So many questions to be answered for this young, talented man. Wasted, talented man. Now waits for Achilles surgery. He popped his Achilles. I was looking right at him when he did it. I thought someone had fired a shot at me, but it was simply Pat's Achilles snapping. He did actually play about 5 hours of football prior to the Turkey Bowl, and that might have had something to do with the injury. So, Pat, good luck. You're eliminated. Not only did he snap his Achilles on the weekend of Turkey Bowl, he was eliminated from the playoffs. I want to say he's lost, I don't know how many straight games. started out 5-1 and simply eliminated from the playoffs. His season is over, and now he undergoes surgery for Achilles repair. So, Pat, good luck with that. But let's get into Week 13 finals and the impact. So, John Beam with the second straight win over David Jr., not that anyone cared, but he had dedicated these games to John Beam, his fallen mentor, who was assassinated a few weeks earlier. And you remember, I think it was episode 16 that Maddie gave that glorious eulogy of John Beam. We actually got messages from outside of our podcast, people saying, hey, that was beautiful. I knew John and he would have loved those words. So kudos to Maddie. He won his second straight game. And again, dedicated the games to John Beam. He has dedicated next season to John Beam because Maddie, too, was eliminated, even though he had won. Horrible season for the GOAT and defending champ, but now he's out. We will have a new champion this year in the greatest fantasy football league ever. And the name will be changed. It's still Maddie's league, but that will change when we get the new champion. Ryan is texting me now. There is no code, Ryan. I don't know what that means. What's the code? There is no code. So I'm typing that back to Ryan right now. And I'm not going to be interrupted anymore. I sent the link. He should test the link. I was going to test the link, but I just can't deal with this. My producer's not here, so it's on me to fix these issues, and I just don't have the energy or the patience to deal with these people. Now, the one thing I want to mention, Cheech, a big win over aforementioned Pat Jr. Again, not only did he rip his Achilles, not only is he eliminated from the playoffs, he lost to Cheech. But Cheech, when I type in Cheech on my notes for the episode, it comes up Chechnya. So I think I might refer to Cheech going forward as Chechnya. So a small European country. I'm not sure if Russia took that over too, but I'm not sure. I'll give you a history lesson next episode. But Ryan, so Chechnya beat Pat, knocked him out of the playoffs again. Ryan, and this is what's shocking, Ryan with another loss to a team that's electric right now, and unfortunately I have to play him in the final week of the season to determine who the 1 and the 2 seeds are, and actually the 3 seed. Whatever happens this week between Ryan, myself, and Andy, those are the 1, 2, and 3 seeds. Obviously the 1 and 2 seeds get byes. But Ryan, another loss to an electric team, Andy, who's on fire right now. He's projected to beat me, but it's early. Again, I only had a couple players. I think Andy had 1 player, or maybe he didn't have any, but I had 2 players. I had David Montgomery, who broke one. He had about 70 yards. He broke a touchdown for about 35 yards. And then I had Dak Prescott, who played okay. My players played fine, but nothing crazy, so I'm still projected to lose to Andy. A shocking victory for UG, beating a failing Mikey team who put up 235 points. And I'm sure Mikey, Mr. Mikey, is in panic mode right now because his team stinks. His running backs stink. And he might have to play. He's probably going to play the nipples in the first round of the playoffs. I'll make the playoffs where the playoffs are set. The 6 teams are set. It's just the rankings are not set. And then finally, last week, again, I had mentioned the commissioner with his 7th straight win over the nipples, who layers excuse after excuse after excuse. And in fact, I would say so. Amon St. Brown. Went out early or didn't play, went out early in the game with an ankle injury, 0 points. I ended up beating Johnny by about 15. His kicker had 15 points, for goodness sake. And sure, if St. Brown would have played, then Johnny would have beaten me theoretically. But I could argue if CMC had 5 touchdowns, I would have beat you by 100. Whatever. It's irrelevant. I went on to win my 7th straight, but Nipples had excuses after excuses. What's funny about Nipples this week is for the Thursday night game, and this is laughable. Detroit held out St. Brown. St. Brown held him out. And 20 minutes before kickoff, he's in the lineup. He goes crazy. He has 100 yards and He didn't have a touchdown, but he had about 55 points. But Johnny didn't play him because he was listed at 0 points. So, to Nipples for not playing him and getting a 0 2 weeks in a row from St. Brown, one of his best players on his roster. But again, my 7th straight win. And going into the final week of the regular season, which is this, as I mentioned many times, this is the greatest fantasy football league on the planet. Going into the final week, the number 1 and number 2 spots, the first round buys for the playoffs, remain undecided, right? So here's what we have. Here's the matchups for the final week of the season. I call it the battle of the eliminated. John Beam, Maddie's team versus Uncle Gary. Nobody cares. Nobody will be watching. Nobody cares. Pat Jr. will watch from his hospital bed or his foot up with his Achilles repaired and right into rehab versus David Jr. Nobody cares. David will probably make a soup for his lovely wife and not even watch the football games. Maybe he'll watch to see how daddy does or see how his little brothers do, but nobody cares about the battles of the eliminated. Those are the 2 matchups. And now the big matchups, the playoff team matchups. Chechnya versus Nipples. Again, no St. Brown. I'm going to pull up my phone to take a look at these. No St. Brown for Johnny, which is devastating. Not that it matters, because I think Johnny's going to sit in the 6th seed no matter what. But let me just pull up that game. Then you got a huge game. The next 2 games are just enormous for the bye week. Let me go to Johnny's game real quick. Let me see, Matt. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Johnny's at 30%, and a big reason. 2 things that came out of this game. St. Brown came back, which is big for Johnny into the playoffs. He played last week, so he'll definitely play next week with a longer. He'll have a break because they played Thursday, obviously. The bigger thing, I think, Chechnya. CeeDee Lamb almost knocked unconscious in that game. He's not gonna play. Dallas is probably out of the playoffs. So Chechnya, who's gonna be he could be a 4 or 5 seed, is not going to have one of his best players on the roster probably in the first round of the playoffs because Chechnya is not getting a bye. It's not happening. Can't do it. So Chechnya versus Nipples probably doesn't really matter for the. Well, I guess Christian could move into the 4 seed, and which would change his bracket. But Johnny is pretty much set at the 6th seed. But I'll go through that as we get closer towards the end of the episode. The next game is just enormous. Ryan, his team is floundering. He's at 9-4. He's still top of the league because he started so hot, but his team is not playing well. He plays Mikey in a pivotal game, right? Mikey's locked in at either the 4 or 5 seed. So he's the 4 or the 5 seed, depending on what Chechnya does. They can flip-flop. But if Ryan loses again, everything goes haywire. Because then the 1 and the 2 seeds. Here's what we have. And the last game, as I mentioned earlier, is Andy, who is absolutely on fire, versus yours truly, the commissioner, who's also on fire with 7 straight wins, as I mentioned. Now, the only sure thing is if Ryan wins, he is the number 1 seed. If I win, I am the number 2 seed. That's it, right? Andy falls to 3. Mikey goes to 4. Mikey or Cheech, Cheech would go to 4. Mikey would be 5, and Johnny would be the 6th seed. Johnny's the 6th seed no matter what. If Ryan and I lose, right, which is possible. Ryan's playing awful, and Andy's on fire. If Ryan and I lose, and Andy wins, and has a huge week, I mean, he has to score more, like 100 more points. But Ryan scores 240 a week now, so Andy technically could do it. If Ryan has a bad week and Andy has a huge week, Andy could sneak into the 1 seed. It's highly doubtful, but I'm here to give you every scenario I can give you. Most likely, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen. I think Ryan is going to win, and he will be the 1 seed. I think, unfortunately, my 7 straight win streak comes to an end, like the DiMaggio record. This probably will never be broken. I think it gets broken this week. I think Andy beats me. His team is really good, and I'm just due to lose, frankly. Andy would walk into the 2 seed and be a bye, and I would be at the 3 seed, and then I'll talk to you about how that matchup is. But understand that all of this is still up in the air. We could have, again, Ryan 1, myself the 2, Andy the 3, or it can all flip-flop. It can all flip-flop. So we'll see. Here's how I think this plays out, as I mentioned. Ryan gets the bye at the 1. Andy gets the bye at the 2. And I'll say it's perfect because other owners are talking, not just me. What Andy does every year, just about every year, he'll either be the 1 or the 2 seed or right up there, and he'll lay an egg in the first playoff game that he's in. So if Andy gets the bye, he'll jump to the second round automatically, lay an egg. Everyone will laugh at him. He'll be humiliated again and walk away without a championship again. And I'm going to go through the history of when he last, at the next episode, the playoff episode. I'm going to talk about the history, who's won the most, who has had the longest cold streak as far as winning a championship of the original core 6. So it would be Ryan, Andy. I think I'll be the 3. I'll play Nipples, who frankly had all these excuses, lost to me last week, and now he can get his redemption against me in the first round of the playoffs. I think that's how it's going to play out. I think Cheech plays Mikey, and I think that'll be a great game. Listen, I think Cheech's team is better. Mikey has no running backs. His team's not playing well. So that's the matchup. So Chechnya, the 4 seed, Mikey, the 5 seed, and Nipples at the 6. And I think that's how it plays out. Now, let me just go through what I think is going to happen in the first round of the playoffs. And then I'm going to just get into some league announcements, and we'll cut this episode, maybe one of the shortest episodes, other than when I was in Positano, Italy, doing my episode. I'm not sure what episode it was, but that was a short one. Here's how I think it plays out. I'm going to go through the entire playoff bracket, not just week 1. So week 1 is, again, as I mentioned, I'll go Chechnya versus Mikey. I think Chechnya wins, and I think he wins easy, maybe 70 points. Then the commissioner plays Nipples. And I don't think Johnny pulls it out. I think the commissioner gets into the next round of the playoffs. So then it would be Ryan versus Chechnya, which is a great matchup. And then yours truly versus baby boy Andy in the second round of the playoffs. Oh boy, if Andy lays an egg. If Andy lays an egg versus daddy, oh my goodness, in the second round of the playoffs. And then what comes out of that? What is the championship matchup? I'll tell you what I think the championship matchup. I think Nipples plays me. Wait a minute. Let me go back. I think Cheech beats Mikey. I think I beat the Nipples. So then I play Andy and Ryan plays Cheech. I think Cheech beats Ryan. I think I beat Andy. And then in the championship, it is Chechnya versus the commissioner. And the commissioner, as first year as commissioner, brings home the beautiful trophy. I'm going to start thinking of names of the league. I don't know what I'm going to call the league when I win the championship. But, oh, baby, if this happens, I'll tell you right now. But it's a tough path, people. But I would love to get that. What I would love is to get that first round bye and have Nipples upset whoever he plays. Upsets maybe Mikey, whoever he plays. Oh, I know he would play Andy if I get the bye. I'd love to have Nipples upset Andy. Andy lays the egg, and I play Nipples to get into the championship because that's a clearer path. That's an easy path for me. But I'm telling you right now, I am going to guarantee, and I'm going to say it. I'm going to quote myself again. If my mind can conceive it, if my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it. That's what's going to happen, people. That's what's going to happen. and I am going to take home the title. And I'll tell you right now, I hadn't walked through my scenario of what I thought was going to happen, and now I have, and I can't wait to get into the playoffs. I don't even care if I get the bye. That's how excited I am to play. In fact, I would love to bye. I say sometimes I don't care if I get the bye. I would love to have the bye because then you just watch people sweat. You don't have to do anything. Your team can rest up. One thing I do want to mention and why I think Andy's going to beat me this week, CMC has a bye. Who has a bye week in week 14 of the regular? It's ridiculous that in week 14, CMC has the bye. So I don't have CMC. I played Montgomery because it was a brilliant move. And he, like I said, he broke one for I don't know how many 35-yard touchdown. So I'm right there. But let me go through real quick the percentages. I'm not going to talk about John. John being scheduled, he's 61% against his daddy. David's at 64% against Achilles. That might be his new name, like the Greek god Achilles, Pat Jr. Johnny is suffering. Cheech is at 70%. Again, he didn't play St. Brown, which hurt him. Cheech had CeeDee Lamb, got him 54 before the concussion. St. Brown only had 42. He didn't have a touchdown, but he had 6 receptions for 92 yards. Still hurts Johnny. He's got Pierce. The Colts are floundering. I don't like that move. So like I said, I like Cheech in that. He'll go to 9-5. Johnny will go to 7-7 and be in that 6th seed. And I think Cheech would be in the 3 spot or the 4 spot, I should say, as I mentioned earlier. I think my predictions for the playoff setup is perfect. I think they're right. Unfortunately for me, since I'm at 36%, I had Dak at 50, Montgomery at 33.5. Andy didn't have anyone playing. Andy's at 64%, projected 345. He's at 8-5. So, and that's why he would move into the bye week if he beats me. And he has a lot more points than me, I think. Ryan is at 78%. Mikey's team. Mikey had Pickens, who only had 21.5. He didn't do anything. He disappeared. In fact, they said he looked disinterested on the sideline. So that's a red flag for the playoffs. Who knows? Pickens might say he's got a hamstring. Mikey's in a lot of trouble. Mikey's in a lot of trouble. And I'll tell you right now, most of the owners in this league would be happy to see Mikey get humiliated in the first round of the playoffs. Because I'll tell you what, he's going to be the 5 seed, which for Mikey is an embarrassment in itself, right? It's an embarrassment to be the 5 seed. Someone as great as he claims to be. But he's in for a rude awakening. Bucky Irvin's playing well, but who's this running? Who does he have? He has Devin Neal. He has Devin Neal as this RB2 in a 10-man league in week 14, one of the biggest games of the year. Devin Neal. What the? Oh, he's got 2 Saints on his. I tell you what, this Mikey team, I hope I play him. I don't think I'm going to get to him because he's going to be out of the playoffs before that. I think Cheech is going to embarrass him in the first round of the playoffs. His team is awful. Awful team. Should be ashamed of himself. And then we go to my game, which I went over. But Ryan's going to win, right? Ryan will be the 1 seed. Andy, the 2, like I mentioned. I'm the 3. I want to give a couple things as I shut down here for episode 18. Ryan, an absolute embarrassment trying to get on, had no audio. His face was right up against the camera. I don't even want to talk about it. I will not have him back on. The only time I'll have him back on is if he's in the championship game. Otherwise, he is banned for this year to be on the podcast. Couple notes for the owners. Waiver wire will be closed to any non-playoff teams effective Monday morning. The only way a non-playoff team who wants to win out, last couple games that don't matter, right? The only way they can do it is if they're getting a defense, not even the defense, because there are no more buys. Only way they can go on the waiver wire, the only move a non-playoff team owner can make is the kicker. If their kicker is injured. Otherwise, do not attempt to make any moves other than a kicker. If you do, I will monitor all activity and you will be reprimanded. So any non-playoff teams, effective Monday morning, the waiver wire is closed to you unless your kicker is injured. Now listen, if you have 4 guys that are injured or on IR and you need to pick somebody up just because you don't have enough players, I'll look at that. Otherwise, which is a highly doubtful scenario, you have a bench, highly doubtful scenario, I would allow something like that. But unless it's that, kicker, injured, the only move you can make. There will be no more buys this week, so there's no need to change a defense if you're out of the playoffs. Your cooperation is appreciated. And as I mentioned, the league will monitor all activity on the waiver. Next week for the playoffs, we hope to have a special episode dedicated to predictions and matchups with, I will tell you right now, and I'm lining them up, it's not going to be Ryan. I already told you. We have some really, really special guests for the playoffs. I'm trying to get my co-host on because who better to talk about the playoffs than the GOAT? He's been in more playoff games. He has more playoff wins than any other owner, and obviously more championships than any other owner. But aside from the GOAT, we're going to have some very special guests for the playoff run. I've given you my predictions. Barring injuries, I may make some changes, but I highly doubt it. That being said, people, good luck with everything. Pat Jr., Godspeed through your Achilles surgery and the best of luck with your rehab. Hope to have you back on the field for Turkey Bowl 2026, although it's doubtful. Anyway, have a great weekend. Happy holidays. I wore my Christmas red in my Big Ten Rutgers sweatshirt. Happy holidays coming up for everybody. Big special guest next week. Have a great week. Love you, boys.